What's up, everybody? It's the Hard Deconstruction. You can find us at harddeconstruction.tumblr.com, youtube.com/harddeconstruction, as well as facebook.com/the Hard Deconstruction with your host, Comp.
Egg.
And...
Thea!
Oh, hey, Thea from harbor.tumblr.com. This is me not totally fucking...
Hi!
This is me not totally fucking up the beginning of this episode and not recording it. How you doing, Thea?
I'm good! I'm gonna go finger myself in a corner. I'll be right back!
Alright, so while Thea comes back, we're talking about the film American Werewolf in London, which is based, the movie from 1981, which was directed by John Landis as well as written by him. It's about two Americans that go backpacking in the woods, the marshes, the moors of fucking England, and then they get attacked by a werewolf and all that bullshit happens, and then this is the part where I told him about, David Naughton, who plays David.
But did you cut out the whole part about the Moors, too?
No, that's still in there. But the part where I showed them a clip on YouTube, it's a quite humorous image of the actor David Naughton dancing like a maniac in a 1970s video of him singing the song Making It. So that's it. All right, enjoy the rest of the episode. Right, Thea? Two. Okay, so...
Okay.
He sure is making it, though.
You know, I'm showing you guys the footage of them.
High energy boy 80.
I'm back to recording.
God.
I'm back to recording, but yeah, David Naughton, I guess he was a singer and he had a song called Making It. I think they had a TV show in the 70s.
This is just impressive moves.
I know, right? It's pretty good. And look, he's really going for it.
Yeah. Wait, we're recording right now?
Yeah, we are.
Oh, okay. Let me
making
pause
it,
so I
he's
can
giving
concentrate. Wow, that's,
He's making it in his pants. Anyway.
You know what'd be cool if he turns into a werewolf now and just, kills everyone?
Jumps everybody on
the
stage.
thing I have a problem with is the set is really impressive, and his outfit is it's very plain.
But his outfit matches the color scheme of the...
Yes, I suppose it does.
If anybody wants to look up, it's footage of David Naughton performing Making It on stage. And it looks... He almost looks like a guy that just kind of had no idea that he was going to be on stage right now, so he's trying to make it up as he goes. So he's
he
dancing.
definitely didn't know he was going to be famous enough that people would look this up later.
He's dancing like Michael J. Fox would dance right now. All right.
Oh, God.
So
he doesn't give a care.
So this movie.
He doesn't give a heck.
So American Werewolf in London, I guess the be-all end-all werewolf movies, but I guess there's the werewolf movie from 1950s, obviously, that starred Lon Chaney or one of those?
Like the Wolfman or something.
Right,
I mean, this is definitely this definitely started like a new thing, I think.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely how what The Exorcist did for exorcism or demon films, this kind of did for werewolf films, where it took it very seriously. I'm sure there were a lot of other werewolf films like The Howling. I think The Howling was made at the same time that this was because...
And then that one Wolf with Jack Nicholson, that's one
later.
I've never seen, but I've always wanted to see it.
Yeah, I heard about that. I know for sure. I was reading trivia on this film, and I know that John Landis it was taking him 8 years to make this film, and
he wanted to make it for a really, really long time.
And
it's good he waited though, because the special effects were so good, and they maybe couldn't have had that level.
It was the perfect era to make that kind of movie where it was so effects heavy, because that was like the prosthetic makeup.
I think that's
that
like 100 times better than most special effects I've seen.
I loved it.
And I think that Rick Baker, God bless him, who's no longer with us, who originally, he did the special effects for this film. He was holding out so long waiting to make this film that he actually went on to try to make The Howling. And by that time, John Landis said, we got the money to make the movie. He was like, oh, shit. So he had to leave some effects to be... he had Rob Bottin, if anybody knows about horror special effects, take over for him on The Howling, so he went back into this, and apparently John Landis never forgave him for that still, because I guess he kind of just gave away some effects or something. And the creature, the wolf effect, is actually based on, I think, Rick Baker's dog, so that's pretty cool. He must have had a scary-looking dog.
I don't know if I want to meet that dog, but...
Let's get into the storyline of this film. How does it start out, Thea?
So it starts out, we meet our two backpackers, David and Jack? Jack, yes.
Jack.
And they're getting off of a little sheep truck.
Mm-hmm.
And Jack's clearly he's not really into this trip in England, because England is kind of rainy and gross and awful.
You know what, you just offended so many people there.
According to Jack, not according to me.
There was somebody listening to this podcast and their monocle just fell out when Thea said that. They were so offended by that. But please continue, Thea.
The sheep guy tells them to stay on the path,
Mm-hmm.
and they go up the path and go into the village where they go into a pub called the Slaughtered Lamb.
Yes, it's very...
I really love the sign. I wish I could get that sign and hang it in my room.
I'm pretty sure I've seen that on a real, like, bar somewhere in New York, but I could be wrong, but...
They're cool that they did that. They're definitely, like, referencing the movie. I think it looks like a great, like, death metal band.
Yeah, it
like,
does.
cover.
It's basically the head of a wolf speared, and it says a slaughtered lamb on it. I guess they're trying to, I guess they're saying
Yeah, right.
So anyway, inside the slaughtered lamb, there's a couple of English folk drinking and minding.
Blokes.
Is that folk? Bloke? Excuse me. They're drinking and having a good time, throwing darts and playing chess. And on the wall, they have a very similar to Large Marge's photograph. They have a pentacle, excuse me, which I thought was had to deal. It does deal with witchcraft, but I guess in this film they say it deals with also with wolves and stuff like that, creatures of the night.
Well, they change little things like the silver bullets don't matter
In this
and stuff
one, right.
like that.
So yeah, it is more like realistic in that sense. And the two guys, David and Jack, go up, and it was so fun. It was weird to see Rick Mayall in this. If anybody remembers, Rick Mayall just died too, and he was a comedian. He used to be in this English sitcom. I think Danny, you would like it. It was called The Young Ones. It's about these four like English guys that went to college and they were just like assholes.
I
But
don't know.
he was in Drop Dead Fred. Nobody.
Oh,
remembers
really?
that?
Who was
yeah.
in that?
He was Fred. He was Drop Dead Fred.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
awesome.
He's in the pub in the scene. He's like.
I didn't even realize.
He was the quiet guy sitting next to the guy playing chess.
Drop Dead Fred is amazing.
Yeah, and it was weird because watching him in this, I was like, why wasn't... Because he's a comedian, he's a comedic writer, too, as well. So I was surprised he wasn't kind of playing the comedic cop that was in the film, the dumb cop that was around. But anyway, they go in there, and they're just, they're obviously sticking out like sore thumbs to the rest of the crowd. And Danny, what happens from there?
Well, they're very charming, and I don't understand why they don't just fucking warn. Even if they sound crazy, they should just tell them what the deal is. But instead, they basically, say, watch out for the full moon, blah, 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 and send them on their way. And then they get attacked by a werewolf, and, he gets scratched and shit, and he wakes up in a hospital.
I like the way that was handled, where they were out in the is it the marsh, I say? Was that the marsh, or was it the grasslands?
Moors.
The moors, excuse me.
What would that be a British way of saying it? The Moors? I guess that sounds British.
I had a
They
very...
say, yeah.
I had a very racist
The Moors.
incident. I had a very racist incident happen once when I was at my old job, and there was this guy who was walking in, and he looked African American, and I called my walking because we had a lot of people who'd go into this job and just kind of like sneak around in the back, and I said, "Excuse me," I called him on the walk-in. I guess this makes me sound extremely racist.
We know you are. So go on.
And I was like, there's an African American gentleman wearing
an African British.
Let me finish the story. So I was like, excuse me, there's an African American gentleman with a blazer or whatever, walking in the back, and then he comes out later and he goes, "Why didn't you call me African American? I'm Moorish." It's like, okay. And then I asked him, "Well, what do you think I am? Italian?" I was like, "Bingo, you're a racist as well." And then that's how it ended the story. It was pretty funny. So there you go. You can't judge a book by its cover,
That's
people.
why you
Don't
just
be
say
racist.
The color of the skin.
I was like,
I guess you couldn't do that for you, because what would you be?
I felt classy. I felt like I was inside of a William Shakespeare play for a second there. I was like, it was Othello I was talking to. Anyway, so Danny, what happens after the gents get attacked by the werewolf? It was pretty graphic, I would say.
Yes, well, Jack dies, and David wakes up in a hospital, and they tell him that he was attacked by a lunatic.
Mm-hmm.
They make no mention of a werewolf. Well, also the people from the Slaughtered Lamb kill the werewolf.
Yeah, and
then they lie to the police and say it was a lunatic.
It was fairly... I guess it is sort of...
But you would think that the forensics people would know, this is like obviously an animal...
They said that the wounds were dressed up and cleaned out before, but obviously it does look like scratches on his face. It physically looks like he has an animal's, but it is 5 fingers. It's not like a paw that scratches his chest.
Yeah, but still, I mean, I guess Freddy Krueger could have done that.
Well, I think
Yes,
what
of
they
course.
alluded to was that they used their own local coroner in air quotes in the town, and so that person confirmed that it was.
Why
just
are they trying to keep it a secret? Why don't they fucking hunt down these werewolves and stop them? Get in
Because
like
they're
Van Helsing or something.
I don't know. I think maybe it doesn't help their case. I think maybe they just don't want people there to get cursed or to make. I think they have a sleepy town and that's their little secret. You know, they'd rather keep it
other people away.
Yeah, they're just trying to keep it really small, and then that's the only thing that happens 3 days out of the month. You know what I mean? Because I think a full moon is 3 days out of the month.
I thought it was only one. I don't know.
No, I think it's 3 days actually. It's like a period, but from
period
for wolves.
A moon period, if you will.
Moon period. There you go. Like the moon was being a real bitch that day, so it turns.
The moon dropped an egg.
Just for one of the days.
Just one of these. So yes, he wakes up and he instantly meets a very pretty nurse by the name of Alex, which always makes me embarrassed about my name.
Why did you just play the music?
Because I fucked up badly. So he meets Alex. Alex, who's very.
That's your name. You're happy about.
I know.
That,
Yeah, I'm always happy that I had
Sexy nurse Alex.
I'm so happy that I have a girl's name. It's amazing.
That's how that movie
podcast.
Shallow Hal, where they see like the inner beauty of a person. I bet like that's how I would see Alex if I had that power to see like the soul. I would see it as that nurse.
So what basically Danny is just saying is that I'm incredibly hideously ugly in real life, but I look like a pretty woman
inside.
inside.
You as a pretty British woman.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. So he instantly has a crush on this girl, and they have the asshole British doctor. I guess he's more of a no-nonsense doctor more than an
He's
asshole.
not an asshole.
Yeah,
He's a arsehole.
Wow.
I always laugh when English people use arse. You're like, oh, you're so
Danny
like.
exhibiting his Britishisms.
He's so funny. He's
He's
like
a bumhole.
he's like Monty Fuckthon over here. He's so funny. So he wakes up in the hospital, and the doctor doesn't want to hear anything about what he has to say about this incident, even though he says he's seen a wolf attacked him and his friend, or some sort of beast. He's very vague on it, but
He thinks that he's having post-traumatic stress disorder.
right. And I think the doctor is just quick to throw him off, but he starts hearing more things later on that leads him to do his own investigative beat. I was surprised at how kind of fast this movie moved.
Yeah.
I mean, it like they
Some
didn't.
parts move really fast and some parts move really slow.
What
I
moved
didn't think
slow for
anything
you?
went slow. What part did you think went slow?
I don't know, there's a couple of montages they don't really need, like the montage of him just being bored in the apartment for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I could see
Right.
that. Also, the love scene kind of like I never understood love
That
scenes.
was, exactly, like that went on.
I never
long.
understood love scenes in film. So I mean, I understand it, but I don't understand it for the most part.
I don't know if it was a love scene so much it was
Well, you
like...
see, love is something that happens
Between-
between two consenting adults.
Oh, I had no idea. I thought you were supposed to do it, but
Shower
never
hugs.
mind. And it shows you how frigid British girls are. You saw how like she was giving
Yeah,
a weird.
I want to go to England, or lie and say I got attacked by a werewolf. I don't want to actually get attacked by one, and then find some hot British nurse to take
It just
me to
takes
her
you
home.
home.
Those British
Not even
chicks,
to her home, but to her flat.
but those British chicks don't know how to like. And looking at her body, it sure was flat. So she was. She really didn't know how to kiss. It was very strange. I was like, I don't think she's really into this.
I
guy.
love shoulder biting.
Yeah, she was trying to taste his shoulder.
I guess
because
maybe-
maybe the werewolf aura was rubbing off on her.
And it's weird because the wolf is they equate wolves with like a lot of sexual action because it's more of an animal and stuff like that. And you saw that in here, I guess, because he was kind of jumping her bones every 3 seconds.
One part I actually really like, which is maybe an original for this movie or something, is the idea that after becoming a werewolf, you feel great the next day.
Right.
Because, like, usually it's depicted as you feel like shit the next day, like Professor Lupin and, like, Harry Potter is, like, always, like, miserable and shit.
But is it because he remembers what he did, or?
Well, no, he's worried about what he did, but also he physically just feels exhausted and stuff from the whole ordeal, and, like, he's usually injured or something because someone, like, shot him or whatever the fuck, but in this, the guy's, like, all, like, horny and ready to go.
6 people.
I know
right,
with
he has
that
the power of 6 children's souls in him or something.
I know with that Harry Potter, that was what Harry Potter and the what? That was the third one, right? And the chamber. No,
Yeah, that was the third one where you get Professor Lupin.
Prisoner of Azkaban. I know that they were saying subtly that it deals with the Wolfman or whatever the hell Lupin. So is it Lupin or Lupus? I don't know.
It's I think it's Lupin.
That it's an allegory for homosexuality and being casted out and stuff like that for that film.
Did they really?
That's what I heard.
I think people
well, they
love
could
to
be
like,
making
try
up
to
shit.
find all kinds of meanings and things.
It could be
think
true.
It's
I
just a werewolf,
probably
you know?
read that on Tumblr somewhere, and then there was like a white cisgendered male fantasy. But and also anyway, I know at the end credits of that, if you look, you know that little map where you can see where people come and go, and it's on the end credits.
The
You can
Marauders
see
map, and they didn't even explain it in the movie.
you
It
can
pissed
see
me off. It
you
would
can
be
see
so
somebody
easy.
you can see somebody getting fucked in there because you see 2 feet.
Really?
Yeah, you see 2 feet in between 2 other feet going in like
yeah,
backwards
I've heard that.
and forward.
I haven't actually seen it.
I
But
saw
I've heard
that. I
that's,
actually saw that going up in
little-
the end credits, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" But anyway,
That's pretty funny.
what do you
that they
guys
threw that.
what do you guys think? If was there any allegory at all with this film with the werewolfism, or do you think it was just sort of a it is what it is kind of aspect to the film?
Yeah.
I don't know. They make references to the original like werewolf film, which is the Lon Chaney movie.
Right. So it is very meta.
They don't use the silver bullet.
Mm-hmm.
They don't use like any of the typical things that you think would kill like a monster of the night or whatever. It's just basically a guy that turns into a big dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
He can be killed very easily just by getting shot in the chest or something.
yeah, because
But I like that they have the little like the smaller references, but it's not so. I don't know. It can't be fun, but it's not cheesy.
right.
I think it's so perfectly handled. I don't know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's very realistic. I mean, well, you know, it's a werewolf, obviously, but like, yeah, the fact he gets shot.
In a way that you could kind of
Does.
believe more.
And like, there's no like, I love how straightforward it is. I mean, the last shot is just the guy turns into a werewolf, which we knew was going to happen. He gets shot, he dies at the end. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
And that was
Although,
like
this is my problem. How do they make that shot around her without shooting her?
she's actually a phantasm. The bullets went through her and hit
from like
him.
30 feet away.
Well, I kind of, yeah, that's true. I was thinking maybe they had guys like off to the side or like
Because
up in
they
the
weren't
building
those
or
weren't
something.
like
I don't know.
those weren't like sniper guys. They were just kind of like regular assault rifle
Yeah.
guys.
With just like rifles.
Right, yeah. And that was like the first shot I ever saw of this film, because I remember just as a kid I turned on the TV and that was like the final shot was just him on the floor dead, and that's how I saw the movie. I was like, well, I guess I know he dies at the end. I mean,
You love ruining the ends of movies.
hey, listen, that
books
was
and shit.
that was out of that was no choice of mine. All I remember is the wolf looking at her and then having that kind of face where it's recognizing her falling in love with him. Although I think that's probably the biggest bullshit part of the film. And then, you know, him getting shot, and then Blue Moon, and I thought that was so, like, cool the way it just ended. I've never seen fully the movie until I saw it now. But
Do
I
you
always
think
thought...
that if one of the Queen's guards, the ones that aren't allowed to talk or move,
With the
was
hat
standing
on?
there and the werewolf came up to him, that they would be allowed to protect themselves, or would they have to just
Yeah, they're
stand there and
supposed
allow
to.
themselves
No,
to be eaten?
if there's any threat, then they can fuck you up. There's plenty of video footage you can see of like people fucking around with them, and then they get knocked out. They really like push the people away and stuff. They really do it. It's not like they just stand
Okay.
there. That's like a myth. They'll kick your fucking ass, like with that big hat too.
Because Al Bundy in an episode of Married with Children fucks around with them, and they don't do anything.
That was a great episode of Married with Children. Such a great episode.
Yeah,
When he
yeah,
puts his
yeah.
feet inside
The
the
whole
water.
curse on that town, which is because of his ancestors.
I liked when he put his feet inside the river and all the fish died. That was amazing comedy. Anyway, so yeah, I like little touches like that. I mean, you guys are right that it's completely serious. It's played serious. This is the film that actually Michael Jackson loved so much that he had them. He had Rick Baker create his effects for the Thriller. Yeah, because John Landis.
And John
also,
Landis directed Thriller,
Right.
right?
And
I didn't know that.
yeah. And it was funny. Did you guys know the original like werewolf in this film was flying a helicopter and it fell on 2 Chinese kids? That was a joke. See?
I was waiting for you to make a joke.
Yeah.
That's my John Landis joke. Ha ha ha.
Wow.
He killed 3 people. You can see it on YouTube anyway if you guys want to see
I don't
Vic
wanna
Morrow's
see
head
that.
fly off. So John Landis knows how to direct the movie. I mean, he kind of got shit canned after that whole Twilight Zone thing. Although I think this came after Twilight Zone, so he kind of had a little good run.
I mean, that wasn't his fault, probably. It just fucking happened.
Yeah, he was flashing a pen light at the helicopter flyer. The guy, he knows how to direct and he knows cinema, and this film obviously shows it because I mean the characters are.
And that transformation scene, that is one of the best That's
It
one of
is,
the best
it's great.
scenes, like, in a movie, like, really.
Yeah,
That's
and
one of
it's,
the best transformation scenes
and
in
it's-
any horror movie, probably.
It's definitely the best werewolf transformation I've ever seen. And, you know, unfortunately, there's not a lot of werewolf movies and not very many good ones.
No.
But, like,
I'm pretty
definitely
sure there's a lot of
hands down
werewolf
the best
movies.
werewolf movie
Right.
transformation, and, like, maybe the best special effects, like, ever, possibly, like, in the top 10 or something. It's so good.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of werewolf movies, but it's just that they're so forgettable that this is the only one that kind of still sticks up there because it treated the material seriously, even though it had a wink. But it wasn't a wink that was like, oh, we're doing a goofy monster movie. It treated it.
No, the character was lovable. The
And
main character.
And especially
Yeah,
when
like, it's listed as, like, a comedy horror movie, but it's more, I would say it's definitely trends more towards a horror movie with, like, a little wink and a nudge. Like, you can tell in the, like, soundtrack of it. Like, they have 3 different versions of Blue Moon. They
Right.
have Moon Dance.
Bad Moon
They have
Rising.
Bad Moon Rising. Like,
it's a very
there's
sound.
enough of a wink and a nudge in it, but it's not so
And,
annoying.
and the character is like, Jack, even when he's dead and shit, like, he's
Right.
so lovable, and, like,
Mhm.
David
And it's
is
cool
such
to
a lovable
see,
guy.
yeah, it's cool
I
to
love
see
it.
that character come back as decaying every time, getting worse and worse, and by the end of it, he's just like this
And those effects
puppeteered
are great,
corpse.
too.
Yeah, and then all the people that he killed there and stuff, that was
Yeah.
pretty funny. The guy on the escalator that died in the subway or whatever.
Yeah, and the couple that are like really cheerful, even though they got massacred and stuff like that.
Well,
It's
they're
really-
together in the afterlife, so they don't care, but...
I love that. Like that. Obviously, the funniest part to me, I think, was the porn scene because they actually shot that porn film before they shot the film itself. So
Right.
the guy walks into the room and he's like,
And
"What
he's
are you
like,
doing?"
I don't know who that is. And
I've
he
seen
just
the
walks
movie.
out.
And she goes, "I've never seen your life," and he's like, "All right," and he just walks away. That's like very Monty
And they,
Python,
like, they shrug and then just go back to doing it.
That's
Yeah.
what they say about British porn, about British sex, that they're all, like, robots and, like, not into the sex, and that movie, like, is a good example of that.
I always have the thought that an English person like would say like at the point of orgasm they say I'm about to arrive. You know, they're like doing that kind of thing. But that's definitely the sequence where it's funny because like the film focuses just on that part because it's so bizarre and weird that it's funny. And I mean, there's literal like there's only two nights where the wolf goes on a rampage, but I mean literally is like some of the most craziest shit I've seen when he goes and he kills like those 8 people. I like that guy looking for his friends in the grass. He just,
I saw the sequel, actually, before I ever saw this.
God. Yeah, me too. I did. I saw that piece of garbage. That's why Danny was like, "Let's see American Werewolf in London," and then it flipped the word London to Paris in my head, and I was like, "No, why? I was like that upset."
It wasn't that bad, but it's cool now because I didn't realize, like, when I saw it, I had never seen this. So,
Oh, okay.
But that's
Did
like
you know that it
that's-
existed or
that's
no?
When he fucked Alex, that's like the kid or something. Like,
Is it?
she got pregnant.
I don't remember anything in that film except for like really horrible computer graphics.
Yeah, no,
And-
that's bad.
And then one girl whistling, and then her eyeball popped out because of the pressure of the air, because she was a zombie or something like that.
The basic plot is that
Dang, that
when
sounds great.
when he fucked Alex, she actually got
She had a
pregnant,
kid.
and the kid
Oh,
is a
they-
werewolf and knows it's a werewolf though, and like locks it.
She meets some guy.
Chains
or
itself up when it knows that it's gonna turn into a werewolf or something.
It wasn't a Juliette Binoche, like some cute French girl. It was like they did the Fly shit that they did in the Fly Part 2, where he had sex with Gina Davis and her character had the son in Part 2. That bullshit. So that means.
I would see it again though now that it's like in context. I would
So
like
would
to
that
see
mean
it.
that? So that means that Jack was still a corpse walking around by that time of the sequel? Jesus. Oh.
Well, no, because the baby wasn't born yet, so the bloodline was dead. I guess I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, and that was a cool aspect too. You never hear about that idea in werewolf. mythology.
Yeah, I did like that twist on it.
Because that goes with the idea of vampires creating ghouls. Like that's not really known a lot in a lot of films. I'm sure there is, but
The master vampire. the
right, you know how a master
ghost.
vampire creates like a master vampire can create other vampires, but then there's other lower ones who are like ghouls. I guess like Renfield. You know that
Yeah,
they
Dark
just walk
Tower
around.
gets into that a lot. Actually,
Yeah.
there's different level vampires.
Classes, basically.
So
Yeah.
the ghouls in this film are just victims that are kept alive in a sort of purgatory
Limbo.
state. Yeah, in a limbo state because they have to be killed. They can only die with the bloodline being stopped. But that makes me wonder: would Jack eventually become like dust or something if he never, because he's obviously rotting away, or was he just going to turn into a skeleton or something like that?
Well, he is like a spirit. No one else can see him. Only David can see him, as far as I could tell. I mean, obviously, if anyone saw that thing walking around, they'd be horrified. But, so he's not really rotting. It's all just like a psychological spirit version of decay, I guess.
What did you guys think? What did you guys think of David's character arc? I thought he was actually a pretty good guy throughout the whole film, and he was aware of what the fuck's going on and the fact that he wanted to, go to jail and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But he did have a fear of death. And
now that I saw him dancing, I like him all the more.
I was laughing. Anybody just watch it, where it's great. Making it is probably the best dance video ever. But it was so funny at the end credits. They while they were making the film, because there's a part where he calls Prince Charles a negative word for gay people, and they actually said congratulations to Prince Charles marrying Diana, because they got married by the end of the film. So that was pretty cool. I think his character is a good guy. Like, I literally
from Long Island. His area code was 516.
Was it? Oh yeah, that's the thing too. That was a real phone number that still exists. So
yeah, that's before they did the
555
555 thing of in movies and TV.
What did you think of the nurse character, Alex?
Thea.
She's cute.
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't expecting that.
There wasn't anything particularly interesting about her.
Yeah, she kind of is like a damsel in distress who's never in distress, I guess. She's not really in trouble until the very last thing. I didn't buy that love shit within... I guess
I liked it, actually. I don't know. I don't know. It felt all like...
I liked it, I guess, but I don't know. It was kind of unnecessary.
Yeah, I think they just did it because he had to fit in that line of, the person who loved him killed him. And I think... He was only aware of her for
the characters in this movie. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you meet somebody one time in a hospital and they're like seeming kind of crazy, you're not gonna invite them to your flat and fall in love with them. But I don't know, the whole movie just had such like an innocent, cuddly feeling.
Right.
Like, I feel like this is almost like a romantic, cute movie. Like, I really like the characters. I would totally be friends with David. Like,
he was knocked out for 3 weeks, and he knew her for about a span of 4 to 5 days.
I know, but for whatever reason, it just doesn't bother me. Like, it feels totally
it doesn't bother me. I think that was like bullshit, but I think...
It works for the movie, but I think if you think about it too much afterwards, you're like, none of that makes sense.
Well, in real life, it doesn't make sense, but in this movie, it's like, I don't know, this feels like the equivalent of, like, that Christmas movie where the guy gets to see, like, with the bank, and he loses all the money for everybody. What the fuck is that called?
Christmas Carol?
Christmas Carol.
Right, with Scrooge.
Carol.
It feels like a cuddly, like, aw, like, these people are so cute.
Like he has something
I love
to
these
lose,
people.
right?
Maybe
I like...
Christmas Carol is Ebenezer Scrooge.
No, not Ebenezer Scrooge. The one where...
I know which one you mean, and I can't remember what it's called right now.
It doesn't matter.
Anyway.
Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that sounds right, yeah.
But, I did like their relationship. I liked how the thing is, I think maybe she was just a sucker for the American accent. Apparently, if you go to England and you have an American accent, they're really turned on by it, from what I hear. Although, I don't...
That's funny, because I'm turned on by English accents.
There you go. Go move to England, Danny. See you there.
Okay.
All right, bye, guys.
No, I couldn't go somewhere that's that cloudy all the time. It really would just be the weather would kill me. For whatever reason, I just have no interest in going there.
Here's a weird note. You know the American embassy guy that comes in and visits him while he's in the hospital bed and kind of gives him straight news that his friend's dead, and then they inform the parents? That's Frank Oz. He's the voice of Miss Piggy.
Yeah,
so,
he probably designed the
Werewolf.
Yeah, and it's funny because he appears in the movie.
And they show Miss Piggy later in the film.
Yeah, he appears in the film twice. How great are the dream sequences in the film are pretty fucking cool, too, especially with the Nazi werewolves that come in and kill his whole family.
Yeah, those were good.
And it was so funny, the part where he's walking around naked and the little kid gives him his balloons. I thought that was like I thought that was Doctor Who, Matt Smith or something, because the kid has such a bizarre face.
Alright.
But,
wait, that guy, the special effects guy, did he design the werewolf, or did Frank Oz help him?
No, Frank Oz has nothing to do with design. He's just like a writer, director. I don't think he has anything to do with designing anything. That's Rick Baker who had all that. Rick Baker's the guy who created, like...
Well, Frank Oz is the one that did Dark Crystal, right?
I think he might have directed... No, I think Jim Henson directed Dark Crystal. He might have had a hand in it, playing voices and stuff like that, but I don't think anything else other than...
Well, in any case, I for whatever reason, I have it firmly in my head that I love Frank Oz, but I can't particularly.
No, he's been a part. I think he's been a part of a lot of things.
Why?
I'm terrible with like remembering who directs what and who writes what, but like
Frank
I
Oz
know
has
over the years he's done
That he
enough
did a
things.
thing that you liked.
Yeah,
Frank
like,
Oz has
definitely, yes.
Frank Oz is pretty prolific with his films. He's been a part of a lot of like weirdo films. I think he had a hand in Death Becomes Her. Like he directed like a lot of weird stuff, and he was Yoda, obviously.
I'm gonna look it up while you guys talk.
I'm looking at it right now. He did Yoda. He's Yoda's voice from Star Wars. So I mean that's a pretty big thing right there. What the fuck? What do we care about Frank Oz anyway? What did you guys think about the mayhem in the film? You liked it or what?
Fucking awesome.
It is pretty large.
And he did direct Dark Crystal. Sorry.
Oh,
okay.
did he? Okay.
Back to the mayhem.
But he did a large scale amount of mayhem in this film. John Landis, where the final sequence alone where the werewolf breaks out of the movie theater, the porn theater, and there's guys crashing out of their buses and stuff, people getting decapitated, run over by cars. John Landis actually gets hit by a car. He flies through the store window, so that's him. That's his.
Yeah. Oh, and the cop that gets mushed between the cars. I mean, that was a great, fun scene. I really liked it.
That whole sequence was crazy.
Yeah,
There's so much that happens.
It's really insane, like just how chaotic and how people in England run towards something that's happening instead of running away.
And I like that now they can't deny it. I mean, they could say, "Oh, a wild dog," but people that actually saw that thing know it's a fucking werewolf, and a lot of people saw it. So
I mean, you and I would think it's a fucking dog too. You know what I mean? We would just think it's a giant dog. Like you and I live in this reality where we wouldn't think
I've
there's
seen enough
werewolves.
dogs. That's not a dog.
I think it's a giant
people that
dog.
saw it with their own eyes, which is like hundreds of people, know it's a werewolf.
I've seen some pretty big dogs.
I've walked around Manhattan and seen those ladies that have those giant dogs that look like two Mexican guys hanging off each other's backs. They're gigantic and they're scary.
Right.
They're huge.
You mean like the Scooby dogs?
Yeah, but they also have that regal, like, fluffy hair on them where they look like they're probably classier than you.
Right.
But anyway, what else can we elaborate on this film? I mean, it's a modern classic. I mean, it's up there with werewolf films. I would say it probably is my favorite one. The only other werewolf movie I can remember seeing besides The Werewolf in Paris, which sucked balls, although you said, Danny, you liked it. I saw The Wolfman
I didn't
with...
say I liked it. It's not as bad as... I don't know. I think it's a cool idea.
I saw The Wolfman with what the hell's his name? Benicio del Toro? What the no, del Toro? God, I'm mixing my Hispanics up. Benicio del Toro. Benicio del... What's his name?
You're saying it correct.
Benicio del Toro.
Is his name Del Toro as well? Okay, I was mixing him up with Guillermo del
Toro.
Toro. Benicio del Toro, and he was the Wolfman, and they remade it with the director of The Rocketeer.
I heard it was terrible.
Oh, I walked out of it. I had to leave because it was so fucking horrible, and I was like, this is the first Puerto Rican werewolf, and I had to get out of it.
That's the problem.
Have you seen Dog Soldiers? That's probably the other best.
That's one I've heard about a lot.
Dog
so
Soldiers is pretty.
Worth
Dog Soldiers is a very Peter Jackson approach to like wolf movies, where it's not really more like what's that movie Deep Rising? Do you ever see Deep Rising with the people on the boat looking for they're looking at the ship and it's full of these creatures that run after people? Nobody seen that movie either? God damn, go watch Deep Rising.
There's still this movie that I saw as a kid that I can never, ever, ever... I think I hallucinated the whole thing. I've talked about it before, but it's werewolves versus vampires. And
you do talk about that a lot.
Yeah, and that was an awesome movie, and nobody fucking knows what I'm talking about. They always think it's that stupid movie that came out not that long ago, which I can't even think what that's called now, but... the one where it's like all the vampire hunters and shit like that.
That was a fantasy to cover up Danny's molestation as a child.
Underworld.
But anyway, that's what you were talking about?
No. Whenever I describe people, like, are you talking about Underworld?
But
and
anyway,
no, it's totally different. But whatever. It doesn't
you would
matter.
totally enjoy Dog Soldiers. I don't know what to compare it to. It's like Blade 2, I guess.
Let's watch it and review it.
And they have like a great
good
line.
excuse
They have this English guy who says, "Come on, have a go if you think." He has like a very cool line in that movie. And at the end credits, they have this cool like photographs of the shit going on that happened during the film. Whatever. That movie's good too. But anyway, what do you guys have? Any final thoughts on this film, American Werewolf in London?
Thea?
It's a classic. It's probably the best movie of the werewolf genre.
Have you guys seen The Howling or no?
I did see that a long time
I only
ago.
saw the ending of The Howling as well. It seems I only catch the endings of
I don't remember being particularly impressed by it.
Okay.
Howling's okay in terms of effects, but the story was just kind of lame as far as I can remember.
There was a lot of sequels too, right?
I think so.
Yeah, well, I think obviously this is, I don't know what light we can shed on this film that isn't known already, but it really is a fantastic film, and it takes a werewolf genre, which I'm not really into that much, and it makes it something that's worth watching. It's up there.
I love how straightforward it is. That's actually my favorite thing about it.
Right, it's
It
like
is very straightforward, clean cut.
it's films
Yeah.
where
Exactly
like
what it is.
films like Ginger Snaps owe, you know, its existence to this kind of film because it is a modern American werewolf movie that I think pretty much every werewolf movie that's come since owes it to this. Besides the werewolf of Benicio del Toro owes to the original one. I think this took the idea of it and twisted it and made it more of a modern thing, most likely how like Anne Rice's vampire novels affected, you know, modern vampire films in general, for good or worse. But anyway, I like it. What about,
I love the fact that it doesn't rely on like cheap, stupid fucking
jump scares?
CGI.
Oh, right.
Yeah, the
It's really
prosthetic
just about
effects
the
are worth seeing alone for this movie.
It's a
If
product of
if
its
you liked
time.
nothing else, I think you would like that.
That one
the characters are all fucking. Everybody's a good actor. It's just lovable. I guess we should rate it. I would.
The one.
I did do rating first because you always steal my ratings.
Okay.
Now hurry the fuck up.
Am I going now?
Yes, please go then.
Oh, okay. I rate this movie a 10 out of 10.
Oh, great.
10 out of 10.
He was so fast to make it the first one.
Naked man hiding in a bush and calling a child over to him so he could steal his balloons.
That's what Danny does on weekends.
That's true.
I give it a no. Thea, you go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10 sudsy shower hugs with a sexy nurse.
That was a good one. See, way better than Danny's, and Danny wanted to go first
You know what?
because
Mine
he
was
stinks.
great.
I'll give it a.
I like Danny's.
I'll give it a 10 out of 10. Oh God, mine is gonna suck real bad now. 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Fantastic episode of the Muppets while your family gets ravaged by Nazi werewolves.
Okay.
The film is worth it alone. The special effects are worth it alone just for the sequence where the guy's going up the escalator and you just see the creature slowly come in shadow on the bottom of the
I
screen.
love
It's
that.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the special effects are amazing. Just to watch that.
This is a cuddle and drink hot cocoa on a cold day type of movie.
Get out of here. Anyway,
On
so
a cold
Danny,
British-
so anyway, thank you guys for 200 episodes of this podcast that
Yes.
somebody
Thank
listens
you, everybody.
to. Somebody listens to it, and we want to always say we love Thea for.
If nothing else, it's fun to have an excuse to be stupid and watch fun movies.
and make asinine comments and drag Thea along through the mud with us.
and be racist and awful.
I don't know where you're coming from with that Canadian. So Thea, what's the final word?
Suds.
And Danny, what's the final word?
Car rental details.
What the fuck is this guy talking about?
Deconstruction.